Everybody, what's going on? Rob Cesternino, and we are back live Wednesday night following the latest episode of Big Brother 25, and a lot to get to tonight. Here, let me bring in our panel and then talk about, of course, our top story at this hour. Of course, back with us, Taran Armstrong. Busy day covering the feeds. How are you tonight, Taran?
Ready to say bye-bye, bitches.
Yes, we will. That we will. Of course, back with us, wearing the power of veto. It's Aman Adwin. Aman, how are you?
Somebody got vetoed today, bitch.
Also true. Yes, and of course, back with us. She's had a day on Below Deck, and now here talking Big Brother. It's Sasha Joseph. Sasha, how are you doing?
I'm here to start our anti-Luke podcast notes. Here we are. Okay, folks, I don't know why the Lukes are following me, but I can't wait. I can't wait to get into it all.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get into it. Of course, I think that we do actually have some podcast listeners who may not be following the social media, and it is possible that this could be the first time that people are hearing about it. But we do have some news tonight, as that it has been reported. I believe it was Sharon Tharp who had it first. That after an incident that took place on the Big Brother live feeds last night, where house guest Luke ended up using a racial epithet, used the N-word, and it was all over the feeds. Taran talked about it this morning on the live feed update. In pretty quick order, within about 11 or 12 hours, he was removed from the game, and we have had an announcement that Luke is gone, and it will be addressed on the live show on Thursday night. Taran, at this time, have the live feeds been back on since then?
They have not. And given precedent for this somewhat kind of situation in the past, I would expect that they'll probably just be down until after the episode on Thursday. But you never know for sure.
Right. And of course, as we have more news about this, Taran will have the updates for you. So make sure you, stay tuned for everything going on. But such a disappointing end to an amazing first week of Big Brother. Everybody was so excited about what was going on here in this season. And then to have this guy, Luke, who was bringing nothing to the season to begin with, to be the person to ruin it, to be the person to come out here and to so cavalierly say something so moronic in the house, and to have, if you've seen any of the clips, after zero remorse, in fact, that he would say something so stupid, but then to be so brazen about it. Also, I 100% agree with the decision. I mean, is it so little to ask for that we can find 17 people to get through 1 week without saying something racist on the live feeds? Can we 1 week?
You thought wrong.
Yeah.
We just can't seem to keep any cast intact for the past 3 seasons. We've had people get removed early before they even make it on the show. We've got people getting removed week 1. It just seems to be the nature of the casting process. But I'm glad that they acted as quickly as they did. I'm glad that they did not eat their own words and followed suit with what their policies are, and that we are seemingly in a new age of how Big Brother is going to handle situations like these. The minute that I saw that it happened, I woke up this morning and I was like, I honestly I couldn't even be bothered. Yeah. I couldn't be bothered. Yeah. It was just what are we going to do? We're going to have this whole uproar. We're going to have the conversation about how people shouldn't be saying the N-word, back and forth. And then it's probably just going to end in the results of him getting a talking to in the DR. And then we're all going to have to sit here and hear each other complain about how he's still there after saying something, as you said so cavalierly. That doesn't happen by accident. He has to have been saying it for quite some time on his own. And now for other people that are not Black, that are using that word so cavalierly in the comfort of their own home, do what you want in the comfort of your own home, but that's going to come to the light eventually. And you get to see it happen in real time. So I'm glad that they just kind of like washed their hands of it and said, we're not dealing with it this time. We're done. Get out. Let's move on. So I'm 100% here for it. I'm sad that it happened, but I'm glad that we're at a point in the progression of the show where we're not dealing with it anymore. Because I honestly, like, I could not deal with a whole spending the entire time until his eviction talking about it. It would have just been so debilitating. So over it.
Yeah. The whole sequence of events, you know, and watching those clips from the live feeds, he says it. He catches himself, and then said, like, you see where, you know, Corey and Heisem are like, whoa, like not cool. What are you doing? They leave. He's like, no, like that. I didn't say what you think I was gonna say. I was gonna say narwhal. He says. And
it was to be clear,
why did you stop yourself from saying narwhal? Why couldn't
you?
And why'd you say dude instead of narwhal?
Yeah.
To be clear, you know, I don't think he was actually trying to claim that he was like it's honestly worse than that. He was joking that he was going to say narwhal because he knew that everyone else knew what he was going to say and was like, whoops, shouldn't have done that. Slip of the tongue. It was really narwhal that I was saying. Isn't that a cutesy cover up?
Yeah. Right.
You know, like, I know that people are going to have back and forth opinions about, I mean, we've all seen the conversations today about like how Jared handled the situation. All I can say to that is you have to understand once again that he's sitting there in a game where he's already in a very precarious situation given the casting choices this season. So putting yourself in the line of fire and having to be the one to give him a stern talking to, while he's not even supposed to have to do that in the first place, in the context of the game, it's just not a good spot to be in, because then he has to walk on eggshells to make sure that no one thinks that he's angry all the time because someone said this word and he's going to be uncomfortable the entire season. Like, it's not. That's why he has to be removed, because it's just not a good spot for anyone to have to be in, inside or outside of the house. So while it might be disappointing for a few people how a lot of people rather, how he handled the situation, I'm not putting him in my crosshairs. I'm more concerned about Luke saying it in the first place, because he started it. Like, no one else did it. He did it, not Jared. So.
And the onus should never be on the person on the receiving end to do the education. Like, we should be way past that in our lives. Like, that is not what we're here for. And I'm not even talking about the game. I'm just saying IRL, right? Like, if someone does something to you, it is not your job to now stand up for them. Like, stop the madness, right? Like, we're not going to blame, like, Black people particularly in this situation for doing, like, for standing up or not standing up. It doesn't matter. And however he reacted to it, like, I have been in situations where I'm Indian and someone has called me a terrorist, and, you know, I think, oh yeah, I'm gonna say stuff back, and I just froze because I didn't know what to say. And it's just, you're just like, did this just happen? And then 10 minutes later I was like, well, now I'm ready to go. So it's just, it happens sometimes. And I just think we cannot and should not police or say this is how you should react outside of the game, let alone now add the money to this and add being a minority to this and add cameras on you 24/7. Please be serious, everyone.
And plus, they already got the talking to. We know that they got the talking to before, like during the casting process. They already went through all of this, and he still did it. So, like, why is it falling upon Jared or anybody else to be like, oh, well, you know what, production, we're not finger wagging here. Like, we don't have time. Get out. Like, you broke it. You broke the rules. Go. Bye.
Yeah. So I mean, this did come together like in pretty short order, seemingly. Like, you know, the thing was that here on the East Coast, it did seem like it was going on like all day, but this happened like in the middle of the night, Big Brother time. Correct, Taran? This is around like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. Big Brother time?
Yeah, I think it was around 1 a.m. Big Brother
He's
time.
pulled from the game before noon on the West Coast. I mean, I think there's a lot of people that have to be in those conversations. I'm sure Allison Grodner isn't there overnight. They've got to talk to CBS, Paramount, whoever. I think that a lot of calls need to be made on this. So that they did not waver on this too much. I mean, I think that's probably from when it was said to when he's gone is about 11 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
Yeah,
a pretty
I was up
clear-cut
when it
case.
happened. I was like,
Mhm.
wait, what? And again, being on the West Coast, I was like, well, no one else is here. Like, what is going on? Is this real? So even seeing it live was wild.
Yeah. It's just very disappointing, especially like this is like 1 week into the game. You got to think that just like, I don't know, the vetting that we're doing on these people to find somebody. And here on, what are we at, day 8 in the game right now? To like, that this is who we lay with. This is who we got for this season. Thousands of people apply to be on this show. How did this guy get in?
He didn't even know who was on the block.
He doesn't know anything.
He literally is. Here's the thing, right? Like, he is such a fool from jump that people are like, he has to be a twin because there has to be something exciting about him to make him stay, right? Like, we literally maybe concocted a conspiracy theory. That's how paper vanilla this fool is. And then he just like shows up, will have random bursts of like a literal light bulb, and then it'll turn off again. So it's just, here we are. And then it's like, Florida man, gonna Florida man, right? Like, I was waiting for the headline, Florida man kicked off of Big Brother, because stop the madness. Stop it.
It's so like, and that's probably why he got through in the first place, because he was so just like vanilla. Like, people haven't really seemed to have found a lot on social media. So maybe that's like an uphill battle for casting. It was like, well, we don't really have anything to say that he shouldn't be on the show because he's not really putting anything out there except for his art. So maybe he's just a good guy. Like, I mean, I drafted him. Like, I didn't think, I don't like walk my daily life automatically assuming that every non-Black person is just secretly saying the N-word. I would choose to believe that there are people out there that don't say it because they have common sense. So, I think sometimes these people, I think it's just the nature of a show like this. Sometimes people just creep through because they can, and they know how to hide it when they should. And then, when they get comfortable, whoops, there it is. It comes out, and then you show your ass on national TV, and now he's going to have to go back home and deal with all of that. So, I mean, it is what it is. Like,
he
I'm
said, hey, look,
handled it.
I've been in trouble before, worse trouble than this. So,
yeah,
we'll see.
So that within itself should have been enough.
We'll see. Yeah.
Slip
All right.
Tongue. Okay,
So I guess we do have still a season of Big Brother to talk about. Taran, do you believe that we will still have a vote on Thursday night between Kirsten and Felicia, or will we cancel the first eviction?
I mean, that's the question, right? My guess would be no eviction. That would be my guess, because that's what makes the most sense for the schedule. If Luke is gone in the first week, then he replaces whoever would have been gone, and they can just continue on as planned. The only caveat to that is that in similar situations where somebody has left the game, they've usually been on the block. If it's going to cancel the eviction, they've usually been a potential person to leave, like Paloma, and Luke was not. So there's, theoretically an out to say, well, there was no chance Luke would have left, so the eviction should go through, the HOH should go through. But I think that, especially with it being the first week and the fact that the nominations weren't even made by the HOH, they were made by a competition, there's a lot of reason to say, let's just scrap it. Honestly, let Riley play in the next HOH, and just move forward from there. I think that's what makes the most sense, and it would be my guess for what would happen.
And it just looks good that way too, because I mean, you kicked someone out for using the N-word, and then you also are giving 2 Black women, well, theoretically 1 Black woman, an extra life in the game. Like, I feel like that's probably the best way to go about this, because I don't think it's a good look to kick someone out for saying the N-word and then send a Black person home. It just feels a little weird to me. So just reset the week, send his ass home, and we'll move on from there. Wash our hands of it and just push forward. Like, we were having such a good time before this. Like, I don't want to spend all like this, the whole season talking about this. Like, let's just move on.
You know, this is 100-day season. So you are going to have to then, if you kick 2 people out in the first week, then you have to now go through all these other like backflips to try to make the whole season work, where you're bringing people back. You're going to have to cancel a different eviction along the way. So this was it, you know, it makes no sense that we're going to kick Luke out and then sit there and watch 14 people vote for Kirsten on Thursday night on a live vote. It's basically, you know, that this is would be completely just like cutting off your nose to spite your face to kick off a second person on Thursday.
Now, I don't even know what this means for like the rumors of an 18th house guest. Anyway, I don't know if that further complicates things, but at this point, that's sort of for production to figure out.
Well, as we all know, production was gearing up to introduce their 18th house guest, Duke, Luke's twin brother, when all of a sudden this happened.
Should we reset that a little bit, just in case that there are people listening that may not have heard this particular rumor? But one rumor that had been floating around on the internet was that there was going to be an 18th house guest that was revealed, potentially that this 18th house guest was going to be revealed in a Project DNA type twin twist, that potentially Luke was playing as 2 different people, that potentially that there was a thought that Luke had a brother and they were switching in and out of the house. And the reaction on Luke's twin's face, I'm sure, must have been something to find out the news as well.
But if they had been switching out, how do we know if it was Luke or Duke that said it?
They'll always just say it was the other one. That'll be there. Yeah.
Wasn't me.
It was my brother. You have to believe me. Yeah. So again, there is no, there's been no like hard evidence that any of that was happening. That I wanted to leave you with. This is the announcer tease voice from Thursday night at the end of the episode.
Who will be evicted from the Big Brother house? Kirsten or Felicia? And what will the BB multiverse unleash next? Find out live tomorrow night at 9, 8 Central.
Okay. So again, these episodes are in the can, but I do feel like that in the past that they have changed up that announcer voice, but they're still advertising an eviction. And maybe most terrifying of all, Big Brother Multiverse has something up its sleeve.
Yeah. I think I would guess that they just didn't have time to update it. I would imagine that if this was updatable, they would have teased drama, because they would want people to know, hey, we got something big coming up on Thursday. A controversy rocks the house. Find out more tomorrow night. You know?
Yeah.
And they've definitely done that in the past.
And I think I'm also feeling like you want the drama. So you're going to be like, say there's an eviction, and then the shock factor, right? Because a lot of people tune in on Thursdays, that they're just going to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Just like they gave Suri 1 minute of time on the premiere, and they just didn't give us anything after. So I'm just hoping and praying that, it's just like a random twist that they tell us right then, and Kirsten's safe. I pray.
Yeah. So we'll see. Of course, Thursday night we will be live after the eviction episode, or the Thursday episode, I should say, and we will be live at 10:15 p.m. Eastern time to talk about all of that. Taran, do you expect the feeds to remain down through Thursday night?
I would expect they come back after the episode. I think that, the feeds aren't usually up that much on Thursdays anyway.
Right.
And I think that what they usually are trying to avoid is like all of the initial discussion surrounding the ejection. Talk about like what happened. Is this fair? Probably, and all of the arguments or discussions surrounding it. They just want to get all of that off the feeds, and then come back in when there's other new stuff to talk about, like a new HOH and all that stuff.
Because there's got to be some sort of like a telephone game in terms of like what was said and it spreading throughout the house, right?
Yeah,
for
and
sure.
then also I would imagine like, oh man, he said this to me too, and oh man, I remember the time he said that, and it's just they're probably just like let's just leave that off.
Yeah. And typically in these scenarios, like what we've seen is Big Brother would call Luke to the diary room. They'd tell him he's out. And then, you'd hear like Alison Grodner talk to the entire cast, invite them to the living room, and then would break the news to them that he's not coming back.
Could you imagine if it came in the tube that they have on YouTube?
So unserious. You know what? With this show, who knows?
Who knows? Who knows? Okay, so we will have that all part of the Thursday night episode. Anything else regarding the Luke business before we attempt to talk about Wednesday's episode of Big Brother?
I think, again, just worth pointing out, they made the right call. It was an obvious call. There's no reason to, and this is what I said this morning, there's no reason to give him a slap on the wrist and like have him apologize, because he clearly wasn't apologetic. This is clearly something that he already knew was wrong. It's not like he's learning, oh, what? It's wrong of me to do that? Oh man, I didn't know. Like,
now I know.
Nothing is going to change in the course of the next 100 days for Luke. It's going to happen again. He's clearly the kind of person that is already saying this. So it only makes sense to just eject him from the game. There's precedent for it in other countries, and from CBS's previous statements that they've made themselves about how this kind of thing is a zero tolerance policy, and that they would remove somebody from the house if it happened. It now happened. They did it. It's good. And I think we can move on from there.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Wednesday night, we had some interesting movement in terms of the sides of the house forming here in this episode. And then ultimately, a humiliating veto competition that I'm really surprised that Sari just didn't walk right out the house when she read she would be hosting the Atomic Wedgie contest.
I'm just glad she wasn't competing in the Atomic Wedgie. I don't think I could have handled it if I had to see Sari have an Atomic Wedgie. I would have been I was so excited for Sari to be on Big Brother. I would be so ashamed. I'd be like, what have I done to Sari?
I mean, not just that, they also got her in with the fart noises tonight. I mean, this was a real, like, the ultimate humiliation of Sari tonight.
I mean, you have to, it has to be like the most cringiest of experiences to have that happen to you, for you to then say in more words than one that you would rather be smelling the real farts on an island. Like, how bad is it in the have-not room that is instantly where your mind goes? Like, I personally would have loved to see Sari in the wedgie competition.
Well, I think in a way, I think there's a little bit more dignity to, you are out here on Survivor trying to fend for your like your own sustenance, like day in and day out, battling the elements, than opposed to sitting on a whoopee cushion on national television.
Well, I mean, Rob, could you imagine everyone walks into tribal council? Jeff is like, all right, everyone take a seat. As you know, fire is your life in this game. First person sits down. And Jeff's like, gotcha.
Gotcha.
That would be like if Survivor was like Big Brother.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I be honest? This is our show. And what? Everyone knows what you signed up for. This is Big Brother. This is not Survivor. I get it. Okay, Sari has classed up the joint, as she should. But the point is, it's still Big Brother. So, like, it's a dumbass show. Like, that is the point of why we watch this, right? Like we talk about people going back and forth on bananas. We're not like, let's talk about how serious this is. So you know what, Survivor, if you're just a Survivor fan, strap on. It's time.
Whoa.
This is what's happening.
So let me but I think that for some of us, it's like there's a lot of Survivor fans watching this show for the first time. Like, don't embarrass us.
No, embarrass us.
No,
I've been embarrassed.
Our show and White.
Like, I have to explain this to Shannon.
I want her to lose her dignity on a wiener. That's what I want to
The
see.
slippery wiener.
Whoa.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's see. We got the ultimate, like how these alliances came together. Taran, I'm always curious to know from your perspective, how did they do with telling the events of the weekend here in this episode?
It was a tough job that they had in front of them because it's been a lot. The live feed updates that I've been doing have been roughly like 90 minutes per update, like minimum. And I have felt like I have needed to cut for content for those podcasts. So obviously there's so much to get into and so many good moments and so many like high level things that they need to be showing. I think they did a pretty good job overall of conveying the absolute like bullet points that you need to know about the structure of the house. I don't think that they've captured the essence of the game of the house right now, and why we're loving it so much. But I do think they've covered the important information that you need to know to understand where the dynamics are for the most part.
Okay. Well, we had these two sides of the house really starting to develop tonight. We ended up seeing where we saw the scary room start to come together. Matt, Riley, Jag, Blue, and Cameron end up forming the Handful Alliance. They get along so well, and this is ultimately the first alliance that we see. Is that the order of events? Is that how it happened?
So there's actually a smaller subgroup. We saw a little bit of Jag and Riley having a final two. They brought in Blue, and they have a final three with Blue called Crowd Control.
Okay.
And then from there, they planned out the whole thing to make the Handful Alliance and then the bigger 8-person alliance called Family Style. And it was structured very perfectly as an onion structured alliance where it's 8, but they've got 5 within the 8, 3 within the 5, and then 2 within the 3. And so obviously that's a lot to try and describe in an episode, especially given like the later events of the week. So basically they focused on the handful part of it because that is the most important layer of that onion.
Yeah. But this handful, they get along so well. They hang out in the hammock all day. Sasha, they've even adopted a baby together, a baby pineapple.
Even adopted a pineapple child.
What is up with this man, right? Like,
Yes,
is he all right?
Father to so many.
Okay, because is he going to hit the pineapple? That's my question. Okay, because I'm tired of this man wilding out here. Okay, he's doing too much with like wanting to be everyone's dad while he looks like Princess Morbucks. Like, it's making no sense. Looks like a Powerpuff Girl villain, but is talking like an actual villain. It's just, he's killing me. And that poor pineapple did not need to like give its life for this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just Googled Princess Morbuck.
Okay, so they are all getting together, but this was very, very fun to watch Felicia start to clock this alliance. She's seeing them hanging out, and she's not going to miss.
I was a marksman with a 9mm. I don't miss nothing.
Okay,
wow.
sis.
She missed the step, though. I'll tell you that.
That's true. She does. She will miss that. Yeah.
I love this lady. Like, how can she just like be? She has to make it to day 100. You know, like it's not possible that she doesn't make it. So what do I do?
She is a marksman. She can nail that mic pack into the
Yes.
toilet
That's true.
every
She doesn't
time.
miss. She does not miss.
She never misses, honey.
So
No,
she's-
I love watching people sniff things out on the show. It's always just so funny. It always just reminds me of Davon when she immediately sniffs out that Tiffany is Vanessa's sister. I just love seeing people like put pieces together. It's like one of the most satisfying things that you can see in Big Brother. So yeah, that was a lot of fun for me.
Mhm.
Miss Felicia.
Okay, so Felicia's on to the scary room. We got to see a little bit of Sari and Corey. That opens up with the part that we mentioned earlier.
Promise, and as a promise, I will stop being a fan soon.
Boy, Sari, so professional that to even in like that moment to not be dropping the F-bomb on television, to be ready to go with the little kid curse words.
They all need that restraint because they are dropping the F-bomb a lot in that house.
Yeah, one person in particular.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm still wondering, like, I don't know if we've had this conversation on any of the recaps or live feed updates yet, but like, should Corey have told Sari that he knows who she is, or is it just better to just be like, oh, you've played Survivor, that's so cool, like, tell me about it, like, oh my god, I have no idea that Sari Fields, like, tell me everything that you know. Give me your guidance. Because didn't he say he was going to come into the house with that strategy of being the little brother that needs to get his hand held? And now he's out here pretty much explaining to Sari who Sari is. And Sari knows that. So it's like, don't know about that one, Corey.
He's spoken on this a little bit. Basically, what he said is, look at me. Nobody in their right mind would believe I got cast knowing nothing about these shows. Like, it would have come off as so fake for me to act ignorant to these kinds of things. That said, in this conversation, he does say that he watched The Traitors, which I think is a step too far. I think you can easily say you did not
That's
see The
one big
Traitors.
Felicia step too far into the hot tub.
Yes.
I just don't know
the Survivor
what the
stuff.
point is.
Yeah, the Survivor stuff is good, and he'll talk about like, oh well, you lost Survivor a lot, and your allies win, and you're not good at comps, and you're loyal. But if you watch The Traitors, she won by betraying all of her allies.
Exactly.
Yeah,
like, that's a lot.
Isn't he supposed to be our speech guy, right? Like, so the person that probably has one of the best speaking prowesses,
Like persuasive speech.
Yeah. And
in a formal
Corey.
debate, I guess. Yeah.
yeah.
Be serious. Okay, like, but come on. Like, the point is he should know how to speak to someone and not be like, huge fan, not gonna treat you as a character. Huge fan. Chill out. And Sari even said, get to know me, then you'll know how to treat me. So if Sari's telling you all this, just take a breath, right? Like, do meditation in the morning and be like, I'm not gonna be wild. That's for Izzy. I'm gonna be normal, and I'm not gonna tell Sari, who's a social threat and who will cut me, to be like, I know you. I know
But
your
that
whole
was-
situation.
That was also such a masterful reply from Sari saying, get to know me, then you'll know how to treat me, as opposed to be like, because that kind of like disarms someone who
Mhm.
already like knows who you are and is like already saying like, because it doesn't make much sense for you to say, I am going to not treat you this way, even though I know who you are. I'm just going to treat you like a human being. It's like, you don't preface someone who you're going to treat like a human being by saying, I'm going to treat you like a human being. Like,
Yeah.
you see them as a human being first, and then the relationship flourishes afterwards. So I think that
I
was like
just
such
feel
a
like
nice thing for her to say.
In defense of Corey, I think that this is a hard position to be in. And I can only relate to this in my Survivor All-Stars experience, in that here I was, and I had already been on Survivor once, but I came into Survivor All-Stars with like these, like, in my mind, icons of Survivor that I had watched on television, and I annoyed the fudge out of them with
But you were
like all my
on-
questions.
But you had been on the show
It
before.
does. It was still annoying. Still annoying. But I also still couldn't help it. I couldn't help it, Aman.
At least he has like
No, but they
relative
were all-
obscurity.
And he's on the show
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
But they were all on
It's
the
hard.
show together.
You meet
I
these
think
people,
you
you have a lot
had-
of questions.
I mean, I guess that's very true. I can't just sit up here and say that I probably wouldn't do the same thing. Like if I had like been cast on a fans versus favorite season, and then I'm like in the house with the likes of like Janelle and Davon, I'm best believe my ass would have been. Whew. So I guess I sympathize with that, but I don't know. Maybe you know. I think the best lies in Big Brother are ones that are folded into the truth. Just say, "Oh my God, you were on." I've seen like one of your seasons. Maybe want to like approach it that way as opposed to being like,
Yeah.
"You were robbed. I saw you on Traders." Like you don't need to do all of that. Just take it down a notch. Take it down to a 2.
Yeah.
Because he's not asking questions, Rob. He's just saying, I this is your resume. Here you go. Like you were asking questions, but this man he's I don't know. He's
You give
not
me too
like,
much
okay,
credit,
tell me
Sasha.
everything. I will fight to the death for you.
I
Rob.
was probably worse than Corey. And it doesn't go great.
And what?
Doesn't go great. Okay, all right.
Release the All Stars footage.
Yeah.
We demand to see
Yeah,
it
give
all.
us the live feeds now.
Taran, but what if instead of like, okay, I know everything. What about like that? Could he spin it like I'm such a big fan of you as opposed to such a big fan of like the game and like knowing all this like information?
I mean, I think that's what I to a degree what he was doing. I think that like his whole persona in the house at this point is like, yeah, I know the show really well, and so like I don't think he ever like presented it like I'm an expert on the game by any means. I think he tries to present it like, yeah, I'm just a big fan. There are other big fans in the cast, but they do see him as like the really smart guy, to the point where he's like, they really are overestimating how smart I am.
Oh,
Not that smart. But I think that like I think that how he approaches people and especially Suri definitely had some flaws, especially early on. But when it comes to like admitting his knowledge, I think he's probably going in the right direction by just being as open as possible about it, because I think he's right. Like nobody would believe that he wasn't a super fan. They would assume he was and assume he was lying about it, which would have made things worse.
Let's go back to Felicia and the amazing moment where she ends up falling into the hot tub. That we wondered when we were going to get this on the show, and we got it. Sasha, did it live up to your expectations?
I loved it. Okay, as in like sad, obviously, and I'm glad it's all good. The fact that we didn't get it the first time, and then the I think the noises is what put me over the edge, because I thought the water noise was fake.
It just was so fast. Like she was out there for 30 seconds.
It was, yeah.
And my favorite, which they didn't show on the show, was when everyone was like, you can't go in the hot tub. And everyone's like, she fell in, genius. Like, she didn't willingly go in. It's not like she's like, I'm just going to go in with all my clothes. No, she fell in. And no one was helping her. Instead, folks are like, they told us not to do this. Stop.
It also like I feel like we got some variety, because like when it happened to Jerry, he was like looking up and kind of just like stumbled
That's what
in.
I was about to say, yeah.
But like, it was so much funnier to me that she was trying to dip her.
She was trying to actively dip a piece of her body in there,
Just
and
a
just
little
ended up
bit.
dunking the entire, her entire person into that pool.
It's
Like,
just that moment where you realize you've gone too far and you can't go back.
there was past the
Whoa!
point with her.
Mhm.
I mean, she said her name was Felicia, so I mean, hey, you know, it is what it is.
So good. She's so good.
Okay. Let's just sticking with Felicia. She wants to lock down her side of the house because she saw what's going on with the scary room, and so she's in the room with it's her, Nicole, Bowie, Izzy, and Suri. and she says, "This is it. This is our side.
Yes.
We have to take on this scary room," and it's going pretty well. But then, Aman, what the freaking hell is wrong with Bowie? Why? What is Bowie? What is Bowie just like? All right, I'm gonna leave because I don't want other people to suspect anything.
And it wasn't the thing is that she chose to leave when the alliance started to tap in, as opposed to like, oh, we've been in here for a while. Let me just get out of here. It was specifically when they were like, we should probably think about getting something together. She's like, okay, well, that reminds me, I've got to go and handle a thing back home in Australia. Like, girl, where are you going? Like, sit down. Like, this is where you need to be involved in the conversation. I am pleased that they didn't seem spooked enough to be like, okay, well, we got to get rid of her next.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Because she's very lucky that they didn't. Because I most certainly would have been. I would have been like, where are you going? Like,
Yeah, well, she's out of the alliance.
right? Like,
That's what I would have said. I would have been like, oh, she gotta go.
Bowie on the live feeds is almost non-existent. It's almost like she ran from Australia and is hiding away in the Big Brother house, like from some creditors, and she's trying to avoid being on the show or the feeds as much as possible. Like, because she's definitely the least seen person on the feeds.
she's like, is this gonna be on TV? Is this gonna be on TV?
Okay, I gotta,
Is this
24/7.
I got a
on
thing.
TV.
Yeah, I have to go check on something. Yeah, so she leaves, but they continue to form the alliance, and ultimately we end up with the Bye Bye Bitches Alliance formed.
Yes.
Yeah.
I loved Felicia in this, just being like, we're the bye bye bitches, bitch. Like, it was just so, like, she knew that she coined the perfect name. I love that.
Yeah. Now, is the sign? Now, I didn't realize that there was a sign, the quote of "Bye Bye Bitches" on the wall. Is that basically? Is that their bedroom? Is that where they sleep?
Yep.
Because that's
double meaning.
The comic. Is that the comic room?
Comic room.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so we heard the disembodied voice of Janelle echoing through the house.
I loved what Suri said about this alliance.
I'm willing to stay loyal to the Bye Bye Bitches as long as the Bye Bye Bitches are loyal to me, because if not, then it's Bye Bye Bitches.
Bye bye bitches.
There was
so good.
There was a really nice moment in the episode where we got to see a conversation that was going on between Jag and Hisam. And, this is like on a day that shows us that there are, a lot of flaws with what's going on in the Big Brother house. This was probably the, best version of like what we can get out of Big Brother. Bringing people together, and Jag had some very moving comments about being a representative and being the first Sikh player in the house, and then Hisam was talking about what it's like for him to represent the Muslim community in the game.
Yeah, it's just I was waiting for this conversation to show up on the show. It's just since day zero, since the cast was announced, actually, what Jag said actually like low-key played out on Twitter, and folks were like, the first hijabi house guest is coming on, talking about Jag. And it wasn't just one person. I'll say that there were multiple people that were getting that confused. So it's just, I really appreciate the show showing that and really highlighting the 9/11 piece as well of it all, because I mean it's a real struggle where like Sikh men are getting killed. First of all, no one should be getting killed, exactly what Jag said, and you're so dumb and ignorant that you're attacking folks that literally have nothing to do with the religion. Like, you're just confusing two brown people basically at the same time. So I just feel like we finally are seeing this stuff on Big Brother, and these conversations haven't happened in so long that it's just I'm just grateful that Jag is here. He's able to talk about it and they're showing it, because again, I'm not Sikh, but as an Indian person, it's just nice to like hear these conversations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said before, when we did the draft, like when we first got the cast list, and he was talking about how excited he was to, represent for the Punjabi community, I was like, you know what? Like, I actually don't really know what these words mean. And I actually sat and looked up everything and learned the distinctions between the different groups of people, because, like Southeast Asia and the Middle East and everything, that's a very vast, like, region of land with
that's why
many
Asians
different types
can't
of
always
people.
work together. There's just a billion of us in India, just in India.
Right. So it's like, it's important. That's why representation is important, not only for those people that are underrepresented to see themselves, but also so that other people are exposed to the inner nuances within those communities, to understand that it's like, oh yeah, there's like a whole like living, breathing culture that has so much to it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I was very happy to see these conversations, especially and specifically with Haitham, like just speaking with or getting a chance to hear someone that is gay and Muslim. It's like, I always wonder how people that are religious but also part of the LGBT community like sort of like reconcile that type of thing. Because I know from my Christian background, it's one experience, but from another religion, it's like entirely separate. So I'm like, I'm always interested to see how that manifests and how that works in someone else's life. So I'm really excited to listen to Haitham and Jag for the rest of the season to see, if they share anything else with us.
Yeah. So that was a nice moment between them. We then got to the 5-person alliance expanding into the 8-person alliance. Taran, we got to see where Corey, America sighting, and then Jared get brought into from the 5-person alliance to ultimately the 8-person alliance.
Yeah, Cameron says to Corey, hey, the 5 of us were talking. Literally saying the word 5. And we brought up your name. And they bring in Corey, then they bring in America, and then Jared has to hear it from Jag the next morning by himself that there was an 8-person alliance formed, and he's in it. Which I'm sure inspired a lot of confidence in him, even if he hadn't been, attached to Cerie's side.
Yeah.
Jared takes that onion and gives it to his mom.
Yes.
And why are they wording it? Why are they wording it like that? That's what I'm not understanding, right? Why not say, we would love for you to be part of it, and maybe we bring in blah, 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 right? Lie and say that they haven't already formed the 5. Like, how dumb are you to be like, you're going to be number 6. Okay, got it. You're good. So immediately I'm like, why am I number 6 and not number 1 or 2? Like, what were y'all doing that have me on the outs?
I think the answer to that is Cameron, because they actually, when Riley, Jag, and Blue came together, they talked about how important it was to make sure that the people they added to the alliance didn't realize that there was already something that existed. And they did a pretty good job of that when they brought in the handful. They really like tag teamed to make it seem like they were naturally coming up with ideas that they had already discussed. But what they didn't discuss with Cameron and Matt was that same strategy needed to be used with the next group of people. And they didn't tell Cameron, like, so we need to make sure that they don't know that we're adding them to this group. And so Cameron is Cameron. And believe me, there's going to be plenty more about Cameron over the next few weeks, potentially, or maybe week, who knows. And he decided to just take charge of the whole situation and lead the conversation. And I'm sure that Jag in that moment was like, oh, damn it.
Yeah. So yeah, and you know what? Like, was it with you and Puya, or was it the round table? I'm not sure which. When you guys had the conversation about, like, how it's probably more beneficial to start with the 8 and then whittle down, as opposed to, because not only does that, I think it just works better that way in general, but also it gives you a chance to realize, like, who are the people that can't be whittled down that you need to be getting rid of first. Because if you had started with the 8 and then you realize that, oh, Cameron's going wild out, y'all could then organically be like, okay, we're gonna go further into the onion now, but now you can't because you put him on the second rung, and now he feels like he's, in it, and he's not in it, and we'll get to what happens eventually. But yeah,
Exactly. And
I need Jack to free himself from this. Like, figure this out. Use the 2 brain cells left and be like, I gotta get the hell off this damn ship because it's going down. Okay, Riley will still like you after the game. Just get it together, Jag. Please.
There's a very good.
Go ahead, Taran.
There's a very good comparison for how to do this properly. Of course, the classic, big onion structured alliance, the bomb squad down to the detonators. And one of the reasons why they created the detonators was to exclude the wild card beast mode cowboy. And in this particular analogy, and maybe others, Cameron is the beast mode cowboy of the season. And they needed to know that before they brought him into the detonators.
Too late now. Too late now.
Okay, let's we're gonna get to the veto. It's a big veto that's gonna be coming, especially for Kirsten, who seems like hope is lost. We get to see we almost never get this in the episodes. Kirsten is Cam talking to psych herself up and say how much she's going to win the veto. Sasha, did you like this from Kirsten?
Queen, as an only child, right? Sometimes when you don't have anyone to talk to, you got to do stuff like this. So to me, I said, yes, I see this. You got to do it, right? Like, no one is really messing with her in that way. She's kind of trying to talk to people, and it's not jive. It's just not working in the same way that it should. So sometimes you gotta just be like, listen, I got me, and that's all that matters, and I am not going home.
Yeah, and so for Kirsten, she's ultimately not going to win the veto, but could ultimately be saved by the Luke extraction from the game. Aman, what do you think about a Kirsten 2.0 after like a bit of a reset? Do you think that there's any hope for her in the game following this week where she was like on the block instantly, frozen out of everything for a week, and then suddenly is back alive in the game?
For sure. I mean, we've already begun
to.
Yeah, she did. I mean, I think we've already seen, and I won't go too in depth yet, but I think we've already begun to see like moments of like reconciliation with her and some of the other people on the cast, and her gaining a better understanding as to what it was that she did that put herself in the situation to begin with, which is ironic because the house already is in turmoil even without her even being in the mix. So I think there's definitely, especially when there's like 2 factions, one that's sort of like crumbling, another one that's still trying to like maintain control, I think there's definitely room for her to get scooped up somewhere and get in good and really make the most of her game next. I just hope that she can take what she did learn about what got her in that position to begin with and not replicate that behavior, because it seems like, you know, this house is still very, very tenuous, and anything that you say or do can put you in a rough spot. So
Taran, am I crazy to think she could bounce back a little bit? Because I think that the other thing she has going for her is that I don't think she will go back on the block in week 2, because I think that that there will be like the sentiment of, okay, she's already been on the block the entire game. We can't put her back on the block.
Yeah, and this, you know, this is not the Big Brother 24 house where they were just like, no, Taylor needs to go. She was supposed to go, and now she needs to go. She's not a threat to anybody right now because she's been iced out of all game conversations, but she hasn't been iced out of social conversations, and people actually do really like her in the house. She has a lot of good social connections. In fact, a lot of people have begun to express regret at the fact that, man, it sucks that Kirsten has to go because she's up against Felicia. Against anyone else, I wish I would have been able to vote for her to stay. So she has a lot of ins. She's also not very threatening to anyone in the game. So I absolutely think she has a great chance to bounce back, especially given the current split house dynamic that's happening right now. I think both sides are going to be vying to recruit her to their side. Now, as Aman said, she could put herself back into hot water theoretically. But even then, like, she'll just be joining the fray of constant gamers who are doing that to themselves, rather than being the first one to do it and having that stigma on her because of it. So, yeah, I think she's got a great shot.
Yeah. And Sasha, do you think that the move for her is to sort of like court the two sides, or she should immediately jump to a side
One side is not really a side
anymore? Yeah.
yeah. So me thinks that you gotta go back to Sari and have a
Mhm.
conversation there, or Felicia maybe, right? To be like, can we were on the block together? Can we talk now? Or Jared? I
The
don't know.
block
'Cause Jared,
bitches.
yeah, right. Let's block stars. Let's have this conversation. And I think there's a way to get in with those folks. And Mimi and her have really great
Right.
conversations as well. And she's been looking out for Matt in the way that no one else has. So that's where I think she has a little bit of ins with folks. I just want people to actually see her as someone they want. And I'm not noticing that they like need her. They're just like, she's nice. I like her.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like that she's. I haven't been able to pay close attention to fees for the past couple of days, so I don't know if she's been following up on this. But I do like in the episode where she said that she, she's 100% going to try to still work with Riley at the end of this. I do think that, as Sasha said, yes, you probably should go to the side that actually is so sort of like tight knit and like actually seems to be coming together and staying together. But it's never a bad idea to try and keep Riley calm, because Riley has just been, whoo, the girl was going through it this week. And I think if Kirsten does end up staying, Riley's going to 100% be like, oh my God, she's going to come after me. She's going to come after me, Like, just, I need her to continue to keep up appearances with Riley, just so that in the event that someone that is still very close with Riley ends up winning HOH, Riley isn't going to be like, let's just throw her up. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I mean, in many ways, she's more connected to Riley's side of the house than Cerise at this time. The only caveat to that is that she is very tight with Mimi, who is with Cerise. So if without Mimi, I would say she straight up joins the family style side of things. But with Mimi there to influence where she goes, she might maybe stray more toward the middle or even go all the way over. Who knows at this point? But it could be interesting.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about this veto, and we'll talk very little about this veto. Sari ultimately is going to be hosting this one and ask the question.
That's why today you will all get the privilege of experiencing an atomic wedgie.
Never thought we'd hear Sari talk about an atomic wedgie. I read an interview that
Taran is so embarrassed. I love it.
Yes, that J.R. Oppenheimer actually said his biggest regret was
not
that
Oppenheimer.
His work was used to create the atomic wedgie challenge.
Does Alison Grodner did she have a quote? I am become death, destroyer of worlds.
Yeah.
What's the difference between an atomic wedgie and just a wedgie? Is atomic just like that it's just you're just like you get lifted up off the ground? Is that what it is?
No, an atomic wedgie, I believe by definition, Aman, is when the waistband of the underwear goes over your head.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with getting airborne. That atomic wedgie, I believe, that is the official definition.
Rob got so excited to explain that to Aman.
Yes. I mean, that's basic physics.
Rob said it's my time to shine, baby.
Do underwear typically stretch that far? Like, I feel like I've never had underwear.
You need BB underwear.
You got to watch some 80s movies, I think.
Yeah.
Have you had an atomic wedgie before, Rob?
No, I have. Luckily, I have not. It sounds like Corey has.
Back in junior high, I was Mr. Atomic Wedgies. That was my reputation.
Please, Mr. Atomic Wedgie is my father.
Was he giving or getting?
Oh, I believe he was getting.
Oh, he was.
Yeah, I think that's the implication. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Because he's a nerd.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it would be a plot twist if it was the other way around.
I mean, there was another funny joke about how, hey, get it? Red is from the South.
Holy horticulture, where do you even get flowers this big? I'd like to know what kind of fertilizer you guys are using on these things. I sure use it back home in my garden.
Yeah.
No, I thought we made it, and you didn't bring it.
Who's the producer that's like, oh, that's gold? All right. Cut that fertilizer
You know,
joke.
at the premiere party, I did ask Jasmine about that. I was like, there's someone that might be able to come for your crown this season. Are you worried at all? And she was like, no, I'm not. So
Don't be worried, Jasmine. Queen Jasmine.
I mean, that's why he was cast. Like,
Mhm.
literally,
sure.
he's a
For
TikTok
sure.
star, right? Like, they were like, we need these sound bites.
need-
That's the point of these.
We need the chillbilly, and of course, everybody was stacking, and then it was.
Yeah.
What are we even doing?
Somebody on production is obsessed with making dumb twists. Somebody on production is obsessed with having Southern accented weird analogies in the diary room. And somebody, I think maybe new to production, is obsessed with butts because this is the third episode in a row where butt kicking or wedging has been a primary component of the episode.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So, yeah.
I mean, butts are nice. I get it.
But
first.
weirdly, right? Like, just because you think butts are nice doesn't mean you need to like force people to kick themselves in the butt or
No,
have
that's
a
not even
competition where they're
fun.
getting atomic
Exactly.
wedgies.
Mhm.
What do you?
You know,
what do you want to do on Big Brother? Right? Like sit there and discuss thesis? Absolutely not. You're gonna be doing dumbass.
You know, it's the Humiliverse, the Scaryverse, the what is it?
Comic verse.
The comic verse.
Big Brother
Scramblers.
is the
And the butt verse.
The
Humiliverse.
Scummiverse,
They just
all
added the other
exist
one.
within the Assiverse. Okay, that's
Mhm.
the main. That's the true theme of the season.
Oh, God.
All right. Heisem wins the power of veto. Any thoughts on this competition?
I thought this one was a little harder than some of the other stacking competitions that we've seen. Like I specifically remember the one in BB18 with the bones that was like they were all the same shape. You just had to stack them all up. And there was another one that was similar. This one felt like it was really, really hard to the point where the production was like, all right, enough with the wedgies because we're gonna be here all day if not.
Let them cook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was long.
It was long. Taran,
long.
the episode also tried to set up that, okay, so Jared told Suri about the 8-person alliance. Suri saw Heisem playing in the veto, so that she took it upon herself to tell Heisem, hey, we need you to win this veto because there is an alliance on the other side of the house, which seemed to then motivate Heisem to want to have the veto around his neck. Was that actually the way it went down?
I think he would have tried anyway. And by the time she told him about the alliance, he was already involved with the Bye Bye Bitches. He wasn't in the Bye Bye Bitches, but he's firmly on their side at that point. That's why she's telling him. She's basically saying, hey, we need to recruit everybody that's not in their alliance. And she was already kind of counting him as one of her numbers. So, you know, I mean, it works, though. It's fine.
Okay. So Heisem wins the power of veto. We see Kirsten try to lobby for Heisem to use the power of veto, but he does not want to make any waves. And ultimately, the nominations will remain the same going into what we would have had on eviction night #1.
Yeah. And can I say, I loved how little time they spent on the veto decision. Because there was 0 time spent on the veto decision in the house. There was never a shot that he was going to use that veto, basically. And so I love that they didn't spend 15 minutes trying to fake us out that like, oh, well, maybe I'll use it. I feel like that's such a good evolution of the show's edit that like, we're not going to waste time here. He's not using the veto. Let's just get it over with and spend that time giving wedgies and also other segments.
Yeah. Okay. Then basically Felicia, she's still on the block. She closes out the episode with this gem.
And I'm not falling into a trap. Not like I fell into that dang hot tub.
It was a trap.
It's a trap. Yeah. So
in all honesty, I'm glad that she's okay because once you get to a certain age, you can't be falling like that no more. Like bones will break. Okay, so I'm
She's
just glad.
only 63.
But still, you look when you in your 60s, them bones they don't be bone like they used to.
That's
Okay,
real.
so
Even at 30, they don't. So yeah,
they don't. I bent down to pick up a pencil the other day. Ooh, I think I was gonna make it back up.
I want to invite the chat. If you have questions about everything that's going on here in BB25, you can go ahead and ask them, and we will start to bring some of them into the conversation. Taran, tomorrow, live feed update at its regular time. Do we have enough from today for a live feed update?
Yeah. There were feeds this morning to talk about, and then also I think it's worth discussing. If Kirsten does stay, just discussing like where she stands in the house, because it hasn't been super relevant until now. So maybe worth a quick reset on that. So yeah, we'll definitely go live tomorrow.
Yeah. I know that there was some conversation right before we came on about what is up with the Izzy erasure tonight.
Yes. I mean, I expect like a lot of people were pointing out that we'll probably get a lot of that tomorrow, obviously, with like the paranoia and the Sari backdoorness of it all. I was expecting to see it today because the veto hadn't been used yet, but we'll probably get like one of those like flashback things where it's like, oh, this could have happened. Or they'll have to scrap that and make it mostly about what happened with Luke. We'll see.
Is it possible that Izzy is just so excitable that Izzy's diary rooms are unusable, in that she's at like a 15 in the diary? Like, this is not even like on the same level as what we're talking about.
Certainly possible.
I think we'll get Izzy eventually. I think that trying to fit Izzy into this already pretty packed episode would have been too tall of a task, too tall of an order. I think we'll get Izzy. I think we'll get her.
Yeah. And you know what? I hope on Thursday, before this moron Luke leaves the house, I hope Izzy found out what he said and what he did.
Yes, Rob. You are
I don't
speaking
think she
for
did,
all of
but
us.
yeah.
Yes. Okay.
I want to them up. That's what I want.
With no personal space, right? She's gonna be right here in Luke's face and been like, "What'd you say to my brother?"
Love Izzy. Okay, I love Izzy. She is so intense all the time. I don't know. Maybe if I were in the house, I wouldn't like her as much.
No way, I
but
would.
From the outside looking in, she is. Woo.
Okay. Let me bring in a question. We got a great one from incredible moderator on our team. Lone Ranger wants to know, how do we feel about the return of the intro? Wow, Taran, this was a big surprise tonight.
I liked it. I thought it was like, look, it's no, tinkly piano music from the first few seasons, classic that, but way better in my opinion than like the splashy water effect summer.
I gotta watch it again.
I like the camera noises. I like the speed of it. It was
camera
cool.
noises or Cameron noises?
Luckily, just camera noises. If you want Cameron noises, tune into
I know you don't like Cameron noises.
Look, I like replicating Cameron noises for the podcast.
Yeah, I did feel badly that somebody had to waste their time on Luke's intro, and hopefully that we can cut him out of the intro after tomorrow night.
Well, look, they never revealed the memory wall. I have a feeling Luke's not going to be there.
18 house guests confirmed.
Yeah.
This is easy now. We get to fix the memory wall. Okay.
I thought it was a little too fast. I would have loved to spend a little bit more, like a couple extra seconds with everyone. That being said, Kirsten definitely has the best pose, and the worst one definitely goes to Heisem. I don't know what this is.
It's the like starting of his cabaret move, right? Because we know he does cabaret, so why didn't we get one of those moves?
That is what he's doing at a cabaret.
No, he's not. I'm just.
Everyone needs a refund.
Did you see him when he was chosen for the veto? He Wolverined. He was like,
yeah. Where was that? Where was more of that energy? Like, you would need to pay me to go to that cabaret show. Nope.
No.
Okay.
I'm sure it was fine.
Yeah. All right. Let's take a question. This is from Hunter, who wants to know, do you think that Luke was purposely omitted from the episode, or was he just that irrelevant to the season? Again, I don't think that they re-edit the episode But it is interesting that the one moment he had this episode, and I will say the only moment he had the entire season before what we'll see tomorrow night, turned out to be where he's talking to Corey, did not know Corey was on the block. And Jag says this about him.
Either Luke is some secret genius and he's acting this dumb, or he really is this dumb.
No, he's that dumb.
Mm-hmm.
That was 100%.
He's dumb.
100% part of the episode already, because that was genuinely a huge topic of conversation in the house.
Yeah.
A lot of people were asking that question.
Yeah. Is this just a person that they're gonna cast of like, oh, we need a dumb guy. We need we need a Travis. Yeah.
Well, they got more than what they bargained for. I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe they're like thinking, oh, maybe the next dumb guy that we'll cast will actually end up being like Tyler again. And I think you really captured lightning in a bottle with Mr. Crispin, unfortunately. So.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Some questions about canceling the vote. Questions about why is Izzy so nuts? We don't know, right? She's just intense.
She's just a very passionate
nice.
lady.
Yeah.
She's extra and she's giving us what we want on the feeds. She's
Look,
the
she
reason why
came
we're
to play.
struggling.
I won't
you.
deal with any Izzy slander. Yes, she's intense. She can be a little annoying. I would just say click to the next feed, okay? But she is given what needs to be gave, and I love her for it.
Yeah. We stand.
I did really like Suri at the end of the episode. Had a great quote. She said,
You should have played with
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she cracks herself up. That is a staple of Suri on reality TV.
Look, I've always said, if you can't make yourself laugh, how can you expect to make others laugh? You know?
Yeah. Okay. This is a question about the HOH competition. Paige wants to, who do you want to win HOH? What HOH would manifest the most interesting week 2? Is it Izzy?
I think the obvious answer is Izzy, but I think there's probably a couple of other people that could also be very
Why Izzy? I mean, listen, for feeds maybe, but I feel like we know who she's gonna put, right? Like she's not gonna put up anyone from her side. It's gonna be so cut and dry for nominations versus like if Kirsten stays, that's who I'd like.
Kirsten was my thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, that would be a messy week. What would she even do?
Well, I mean, that's why like it's interesting because I mean potentially kind of dangerous for Suri and her side, given where things currently stand. But like presenting with them with a little bit of a challenge, they have some ins to make some things work. And you know, lots of people on the other side wouldn't want Kirsten to go after Suri herself. So they would be trying to, you know, pawn it off onto maybe Hisam or some others. And it could get very interesting there. And and then also, given how she played in the first couple of days, she might go into some interesting directions too. So I think Kirsten is probably a good call.
Yeah. What would be the worst case scenario for an HOH?
Cameron.
Because Cameron? No, Karen, I disagree. Because I think Cameron can't HOH week 2 without being evicted week 3.
I hear you, but will I survive week 2 to get to
I don't know.
3?
Well, that's look. We gotta put Taran in bubble wrap. It's a long season.
I think you have to take one for the team so that he goes out week 3.
If Cameron wins HOH, I will gladly take some PTO off and take Taran's place on the live feed episodes or the live feed recaps, just so that Taran doesn't have to deal with that BS. And then Rob, you can still pay Taran. You can still pay him for that time. I will do it because I just know that is going to be some effery, and I won't have Taran go through that bullshit. Nope.
Okay. All right. Well, Taran has a lot of sick time saved up, so he can call out. All right. Then this is a question I've gotten this a lot on Twitter today. Some people want to know. This is from J Moore 2446. Can Suri replace Luke on Aman's BB are against
Hey,
the draft.
more 2446. How you doing?
Why should Aman be rewarded for drafting Luke?
Why should I be penalized for drafting Luke? That's
Well,
the real question, okay? How was I supposed to know that his ass was going to be out here dropping the N-bomb? Come on now. With the real journalistic questions. Come on, put that back up on the screen, Rob. What was his name again? J Moore 2446.
All right, Sasha, you have no skin in this game.
Oh,
okay?
no, I can't. I will not decide.
Can you be the arbiter, King Solomon?
No, listen, there's precedence for this. When Cameron was immediately evicted and replaced with Paul in season 19, I did not get Paul as a replacement. And this isn't even that straightforward.
Cameron left because of the game, not because Cameron said the N-word.
I think you can't do the audience like that. That's
listen, at the end of the day, that Aman would be taking Suri from the audience. I don't know why you'd want to do that to the audience.
The audience has.
Yeah, maybe Aman should get red now.
Yeah,
the audience
that's fine.
gets Suri.
Yeah. That
audience, what do you think?
Y'all just don't want me to have both of the Fieldses on my team. That's all this.
You
is.
have
That's all this
Izzy.
is.
Maybe take Izzy that you can have the twins.
By the way, Rob and Aman, I don't know if you guys have heard, but we have added an addendum to the draft.
Yes,
a new treat for all of us. That we assumed that you would agree to this, Aman, because you've eaten chapstick, and Rob because you have eaten slop already. The first person to lose all of their players in the draft must make and eat a bowl of slop.
Well, okay. Well, mine got expelled. I feel like I'm already.
This was made. This was made when it was looking like Kirsten was leaving.
That's fine, Taran. I thought you were going to say that whoever loses all their people gets an atomic wedgie.
I feel like I should get
that would be that we Rob. We can't do that in the workplace.
Okay, good. Yeah,
slop is easy. You have
I'm
to
open
hot
to that.
sauce to it or something. Like something suffering has to happen.
Yeah.
It's you got to eat the whole bowl. I think is the.
Especially if Kirsten's gonna say. Okay, Taran. Do we have enough for a live feed update today, or would that be a vestigial live feed update at this point tonight?
Yeah, I mean, we've basically been pretty spoilery throughout at this point. I could give you the rundown.
Live feed update. Yeah,
I can give you the rundown on Cameron, but you're better off listening to the update or watching some of the YouTube shorts we've been putting out for stuff like that.
All right, so at this hour that we don't know much more than we've told you here tonight. Anything else you need to know, Taran will tell you live on tomorrow morning's live feed update at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Aman, Sasha, anything else you want to add about BB25 tonight?
No, what a ride.
Yeah. Let me highlight this. Sarah Cupcakes says the YouTube shorts have been helpful, easy to catch on work breaks, and something that we've been doing this season. Taran's been recording in addition to the live feed updates. Shorts that we've been posting on YouTube Shorts specifically, but also we've been posting them on our other social media on TikTok and on Instagram. So make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel in case, like in the instance of today, when breaking news happens, we will have shorter updates that are dropping as well on our YouTube channel. Make sure you hit subscribe if you are watching now to get those as they come out. All right. So anything else, BB25 tonight? Okay.
Nope.
All right. It was a busy day today. Everybody, this was a long one today for everybody in the Big Brother community. So thanks for sticking around with us here tonight. It's been a busy week, though, over on the Rob Has a Podcast, a Patreon that we've put out 5 patron shows here this week, and we will start the cycle again, because back on Friday, Taran and I will be back with another BBQ and A. Plus, I'll be back with the Slop, our brand new rewatch with Shannon Gus, and the Feedback, where we're watching some feeds and talking about what else is going on. Plus, a patron 5 for 5. All of our patron content from week 1 is available for free preview at robhasawebsite.com/patron. Also, for our patrons, that one piece of content that is not available for free preview is I made a special message with all of our live show dates for the fall of 2023. That is a patron only video to give the patrons first crack at the live event tickets. That's all up at robhasawebsite.com/patron. All right. Then, of course, make sure you're subscribed to everything we're doing. You can get links to all of our podcast feeds for the Big Brother podcasts and all of our podcasts at robhasawebsite.com/subscribe. All right. Claim to Fame was back on Monday night. Really, really fun episode of Claim to Fame. Sasha, do you do the Claim to Fame?
Yeah, I'm in it.
Oh, yeah. So fun. Really fun episode this week. Mike Bloom joined Jenny Autumn and I to talk about another shocking Claim to Fame episode on Monday night. Check that one out. And then the Challenge USA kicks off Thursday night. So that's going to be really fun tomorrow night on CBS. We'll have our Big Brother episode at 9. But while we are on the air here, part 1 of the Challenge USA premiere airs on Thursday night at 10. I believe part 2 will be on Sunday night. Allie and Brian will be back with our recap podcast, and I will have exit interviews, I believe, on Monday for the Challenge USA Season 2. And of course, join Taran tomorrow morning. That is the appropriate face, right? For
really
what's
It's
going
really
on.
such a nice
now
touch.
the correct.
That is the correct
one.
face. 11 a.m. Eastern on Thursday. I believe Mari on the live feed update on Thursday, correct?
I think so.
Believe so. So be sure to join us live for that. Hit the bell notification to get notified when Taran is going live. And then anything else? I think that might be it for what's coming up. All right. Aman, what's coming up for you?
I am just out here in these BB streets, baby. I'm super duper excited to continue covering the rest of the season. Like I said before, I'm glad that the show seemingly is moving in a direction that is swift and uncompromising, and it just makes for a better viewing experience. So I'm still all in on BB25, and I'm just happy to be here with all of you guys.
Okay, Aman, great to have you back here with us tonight. And Sasha, I know you were on with Chappelle today talking about you didn't get any easy ones today. A difficult episode of Below Deck. Please bring back the Parsifal.
Listen, Parsifal is fine. I take it all back because the Lukes have ruined my life. Okay, so Chappelle and I talked all of that and more on Below Deck Down Under. But listen, spoiler alert, that Luke also got kicked in the ass and he's out. So it's fine. We're all good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Even Gary managed to get through season after season without ever getting kicked off the boat.
Listen, Gary was on Project Runway trying to hook up with someone. So it
sounds about right.
That man is a fool.
Sounds about right. Okay. And Sasha, anything else for you?
Yes, Kirsten McKennis and I cover a celebrity gossip, hot topics, vibes only show called Mess Magnets over here, obviously on Rapid's website /mess feed. Check that out. We talked all the Lizzo mess this week. And over on Post Show Recaps, I'm covering Special Ops Lioness, all the trigger warnings for that one as well with Jason Reed. And over on over on Silent Podcast, I'm covering Never Have I Ever with Chappelle as well. And I was a guest on on 90 Day, before the 90 days as well. And for everything else, just follow me on Twitter at funsize_04.
Okay. Well, Sasha, great to have you on the panel tonight. And Taran, okay, we know waiting for the live feeds to come back. But until then, what else are you working on?
Just find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Taran Armstrong. I'll be chatting about all kinds of this Big Brother stuff over there. Watching tomorrow night's episode live, so you'll get the live reaction. And hanging out, playing games, all that good stuff.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you all for being part of this discussion. I know there are some nights that are not as easy as the others, but I felt like we really had a very mature discussion about what needed to happen here today in the Big
In
Brother
comparison
house.
with what happened week 1 of last season, it's not necessarily like 100% better by any means, but it's definitely, I feel like I just feel like we're handling things a lot better now, like both outside and inside of that house. So that's just what I'm the most excited about.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you back tomorrow night after the Thursday night episode of Big Brother. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.